So you know how it's so hard to buy gifts for your dad?
Mm-hmm.
The one gift that he loves that I've ever gotten him is he also has a messed up nose like me.
Okay.
So I buy him
like a CPAP machine.
like yeah, but they're like not a big machine.
Like the little thing.
The little
I know
ones,
exactly what you're
the
talking
little
about.
ones, but it also does. No, I've been buying him for the past 4 years, and he loves them because he always like loses them by the end of the year.
Right. So it's like a refresh.
And I'm just praying it like keeps him alive longer.
That's a good thing.
Because I've gotten really into oxygen because like it messes up everything.
Right.
Yeah, I've gotten really into oxygen too recently.
Yeah.
No, but like
breathing. Yeah, breathing's one of my favorite things
like
to do.
sleep apnea can cause depression, can cause like
Lack of
high,
it's the lack of oxygen.
I've been into oxygen actually for a while.
I love it so much I do it in my sleep.
Yeah, I can't do it in my sleep because my nose is so messed up.
Like I'm old school oxygen. I've been doing oxygen since before you were born. The new oxygen is more potent though.
Yeah, bring back
mid.
No,
oxygen.
I liked oxygen with the lead gasoline, the leaded gasoline in it.
Sometimes I like to do like a no oxygen trip, so I go up to the mountains for a little bit. I deprive myself of it, and then when I get back to sea level, I just snort that stuff up.
You actually like mostly nitrogen, but
Yeah, I like to do lines of oxygen sometimes. Welcome back to Nanodosing.
Oh God. Wait.
We're talking oxygen.
No.
I used to call it oxy, but you can't call it that anymore.
Yeah.
That got really confusing for a couple weeks with my drug dealer. Yeah. Like, yo, let me get some of that oxy. Nope, not that kind. We're back on Nanodosing. We've got Uncle Chaps in the studio today. Big UC, recurring guest on Macrodosing. He was on the Iraq War episode. And yeah. Wait, Billy's about to touch a button. Oh my God, Billy. Billy's about to touch the button.
Let me touch the fucking button.
Chaps' mic wasn't on, so I said to make sure it was on, but now Billy's over here.
Don't touch it.
There we go.
Good call.
Mad Dog stepped in, took care of it. She means business.
I was just there to make sure they didn't press the button that I pressed.
He was staring something down.
Billy was doing
good
the
call.
don't press this button.
I was like, whoa, because, flip the switch, and then it's like, which switch?
So we're back. It's Nanodosing. That is Uncle Chaps. Hello, Chaps.
Hello.
The mustache looks great.
Thank you.
Mad Dog, I noticed that there were a couple clips that came out on last week's episode, and the Mad Dog simps were out in full force. Because like the clip started with the camera angle on Mad Dog,
Yeah.
and there were just some real creeps that like immediately replied like, "Yeah, Mad Dog."
I appreciate all of our listeners and I love you all, but some of them,
Just play cool.
yeah.
Just be cool.
Yeah.
You don't ever
Yeah,
feel
guys,
gassed up by it?
I did when I first started the podcast, and now I get nervous.
What's the weirdest DM you've ever received?
Oh, I mean, I got a DM of just someone's ball, one single ball.
Whoa.
A ball shot?
I like that one.
Just
Make them want
one?
more.
Yeah. That's good.
Was that Lance?
First one's free.
Was that Lance?
It was someone who he just unzipped his jeans, pulled out one ball, and it was just like a ball on top of his
that's
jeans.
a classic beer pong trick.
It's a bit, yeah.
No, because when there's one cup and you're trying to distract them.
Yeah, listen, hey, we're laughing at Billy. I've done it. I've done that trick before.
When only dudes are around.
Yeah.
Just one ball though.
I know usually I take both, and then I mean I haven't done this in probably like 10, 14 years, but I'd take like my sack and then you pull it like through the waistband.
No, but
and-
it's one.
And you just have the sack hanging down. That's always good for a laugh.
Oh, the Texas belt buckle.
Yes, yeah, there you go.
But it's just the one, and then people are like, whoa, what is that? And they're like, oh, it's just your ball. Then it's funny.
Yeah.
Is this
It's
a
like-
Two Americas thing, Arian? Arian's looking like that. You look like that meme from Love is Blind with that woman who's just like squinty eye, like,
That shit. You just walk around with your balls out and show people?
No, just during beer pong. You're trying to distract them.
Just when you're drinking around guys.
yeah, you got it.
But it's like at the pregame, but it's just dudes.
Just setting the scene.
Yeah, totally normal thing to do.
Well, I got sent it from a man to a girl, so
No
That's
ball shots.
sexual harassment.
yeah. Don't send me
Yeah.
ball pictures, please.
Don't do it. No ball pictures.
That don't work. Like that never worked. Like not once in the human history has anybody sent a ball or dick pic unsolicited, and then the girl was like, "Yeah,
I need
Come
to
on.
suck that
that."
thing.
This
Yeah.
shit don't happen, yo. This shit, stop being a fucking horn dog, bro.
What if a ball picture worked though? Like
That's an electric ball.
you would have
You gotta
have
put
to
that
have
ball in a museum.
you would have to have the best ball of all time. Because I think like balls max out at like slightly like the best ball that you can hope for is still really gross.
The Balloon Dior.
The Ballon d'Or?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like in real life, like the trophy? Yeah. No, but I'm just saying like the human testicle is probably the grossest part of the body.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the highest the ball could get? I think like 7.5. Like just for perfect.
That's
probably,
high.
Probably like the artificial ball that makes it look like an absolute egg.
The nudicle?
Yeah. Maybe that could get it like an 8.
Those are the funniest things when if you get your dog neutered, sometimes the vet will try to sell you nudicles, which is fake balls that you can put into your dog's scrotum.
That's not true because I try to get them.
For you?
No, for my dog. When
It's
I neutered him.
absolutely
It was
true.
definitely made for people exactly like Billy that
I was like,
that have some sort
I'm
of
looking-
their own masculinity tied into their dog's nutsack.
Like, can we give him some prosthetics? No, it was a joke because you've said this before, and they're like, no, we don't do that. And I was like, okay. I mean, I was just wondering.
Some vets do. It's a real thing. I would say that the cap on a ball probably a 2.
Really?
Yeah.
How can a ball be better than a 2?
No.
I
look,
mean, if we're talking smooth, like the topography of your ball could be a lot better.
I'm rating it. I'm on PFT side.
2.
It doesn't get. Balls are gross.
Yeah. Good point.
They are. I saw some
That's where
balls
life
this
comes
weekend.
from.
I saw some new balls. It's been a while since I've seen a new pair of balls. I was at I went to Sleep No More on Saturday night with Donnie.
Is that a club?
No, Sleep No More. No, it's not. It's like a it's like an immersive theater type performance. So it's like loosely based around Macbeth, and it's got all these different actors, and you follow them through this 3-dimensional scene. It's like it's set in a hotel with multiple levels, so you follow the actors around from scene to scene, and you're wearing these masks, so you feel like you're part of the background. And it was interesting. It was a pretty cool thing to do. But at one point, this dude just gets into a bathtub and then just gets out and like runs across the room, and you just saw balls flapping. It's always shocking to see nuts in public.
There is a lot better comedic value in balls than I think any other body part.
Yes, yeah, that's the thing. It's like balls aren't hot, but they've got a great personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Balls can be very, very funny.
Balls are
in
the one
ways
that-
that other body parts
When
cannot.
you like walk into prom and you're like, how'd those balls get that girl?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they must know something I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing nuts in public is always shocking.
She let me hit because of my well-kept balls.
I got my first nudie DM the other day, actually.
Oh, congrats.
It wasn't good. I mean, it was some very... Have you ever been to Reddit, R long boobs?
I've not been to our long boobs, no.
It's a good one to check out. There's some real long titties in there. But this one that I got, super long titties. But she was wearing ZBT merch, so I was cool with it.
Oh, that's cool. So, like, you're talking long, like hanging down?
Yeah, the longer the better. Yeah,
Okay.
Long and flats.
I feel like that used to be more common. Have boobs changed? And was I having this conversation with you guys? I feel like 1960s boobs look different from modern boobs.
How?
Yeah, I don't know. They went down and out.
Oh, yeah.
The banana boob.
Like you could almost do like a snowboard slope the other way.
Exactly. Yeah, you like almost like a half pipe, just like down and out. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making that up. Maybe.
There could be.
What have you noticed, Billy, in your studies?
I mean, maybe there's like endocrinological disruptors that are just affecting all types of androgynous regions.
That sounds right to me.
I disagree. I think it's because technology. I think back in the day, if you're going to have tits on camera, they had to be dynamite tits. Now anybody's tits can be on camera at any given time. So you don't just have top tier titty that's making waves. You have lower tier titties that have joined the party.
The people's
Kate
boobs.
Upton.
Yeah.
Kate Upton is a modern example.
Yeah. What about her?
Well, it's just like you're saying they changed, but like that's
Okay, wait, so we're saying Kate Upton is an example of a woman who has boobs?
vintage.
You think she's got vintage boobs?
She's got analog boobs.
Should I Google Kate Upton boobs?
Throwback.
For research.
For research
For
purposes.
research.
Research bonk.
Yeah, we're getting horny on this
Yeah,
Monday.
guys.
We're only talking about balls
Nah,
and boobs.
this is wild. This is wild. Actually, it's actually wild.
Okay, we're not going
Like,
to talk
this is
about
like when girls they were like all dudes sit around and just talk about boobs. Y'all doing exactly that.
All right, yeah,
It's
good point.
Just on Monday.
Good point. We'll move on. We'll move on from boob talk. Today's Nanodosing is being brought to you by Game Time. Give the gift of an awesome experience this holiday season with Game Time. If you don't know what to get somebody, get them tickets to something. If you're nervous that your present won't arrive in time or simply forget to holiday shop, Game Time tickets get delivered to your phone and inbox instantly. Game Time has all the best tickets, and you get an awesome price on them. If you haven't given Game Time a shot, now's the time. We've been using Game Time all year. Went to the Mets game, went to a couple Rangers games. Billy's gone to some Jets games. Download the Game Time app, go to the account tab, create that login, and redeem code MACRO. Get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. All right. We're back. Big T, I want to know, what are you teed off about? What happened this weekend in Big T's life?
I'm not teed off about anything. This weekend was fun. I had some friends in town. Tennessee was playing basketball here. One of my friends did posit a hypothetical that I would like y'all's thoughts on, because he's adamant that this has happened. I'm adamant it has not. He claims that every square inch of sidewalk in New York City has at one point had urine on it. I am convinced this is not true.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I would
I'm with
agree.
you.
Yeah. Well,
You're talking any form of urine.
I don't think we specified that, but I would open it to any form.
I think there's two ways you could spin this, because I think this could apply to almost everything. But if you were like that specific spot, not just the slab of concrete, like that spot,
If you painted it.
right? No, but not even that. Just like spot in time and space, probably at one point had some sort of animal or human throughout the course of history, dating back to the dinosaurs, that may have urinated there. I think that's very plausible.
There's new sidewalks in New York.
So that's
the
what
thing.
I said.
Yeah,
There's some
yeah.
sidewalks that are 3 months old.
Yeah. And those probably not.
I would imagine a lot of the curbs too, because people don't really walk their dogs on the edge of the street here, and people don't really piss right on the road. So I'd imagine if there is unpissed area, it would be on the curb.
Yeah.
But you know, people pee between cars, right on the curb. You know what I'm saying?
I think that there's too much sidewalk for that to be true.
I
now,
agree.
I will say that
In
a
the
lot of
turnover.
sidewalk has been pissed on.
Oh, it's an overwhelming percentage for sure.
Yeah.
So
In
how,
the 80s or 90s.
Big T, how much contribution to making urinated sidewalks did you do with your friends this weekend?
0, dude. That's
Well,
such a stupid question.
Well, I mean, how did this conversation come up?
There was dog piss on the sidewalk.
or you were peeing on the sidewalk with your friends?
No, dude, that's what you do because
No.
you're an alcoholic.
Whoa. That's
Whoa.
that's out of
That took a
nowhere.
turn.
Stupid question,
Whoa.
Billy. You've been rebuked.
Damn.
You've been,
So this stupid conversation didn't come up from a stupid question?
I used to actually carry around a thermos when I would take Leroy for a walk, because he would pee so much on the sidewalk that it would be a scene whenever he would pee. Like, his bladder was massive. He could go like 12 hours without pissing, if not more. And so I would have to carry a thermos, so I would wash away all of his piss when he took a leak. People usually saw that and they were like, "Wow, that's very considerate." And I was like, it is, but it's also like I think it's like the most basic form of just like being a responsible dog owner that you could have, so that your dog doesn't just like fill a lake up with his piss on the sidewalk and everyone has to walk through it. I'm surprised more people don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, when you have like little dogs, which most in New York City, they have small, high energy little dogs, which are probably the worst combo of an apartment, a small apartment. But they just have smaller pisses.
Yeah, who cares if it's a small dog? But if you have like a
mastiff.
big boy, he peed more than I did. So imagine that much piss just hanging out on the sidewalk.
Also, people who don't buy food to make neat poops in the city because that's how I base my dog food buying. There's this dog food that puts pumpkin in it, so it's like easier to pick up.
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
solid.
You get it nice and
it's
firm.
like it's almost like Play-Doh. It's
Yep.
weird.
Yeah. Chaps, I'm going to be buying a dog soon.
Oh, yeah?
Or acquiring a dog soon.
What kind?
When I move to Chicago. That's still up in the air. Thinking something big.
Oh, you don't have a specific dog in mind, just the
No.
dog.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna rescue a dog. I'm gonna save its life. I'm gonna be a superhero. And so I'm trying to think of what kind of dog. I've been getting really into watching Tibetan Mastiffs on Instagram
yeah.
and TikTok
shit.
recently.
Those are beautiful.
They're huge. They actually, there was one that I saw the other day that straight up looked like a lion. Like if you had that dog on the street and somebody walked around a corner and looked at it, they would probably think that there was a lion on the street.
Yeah, those dogs can be massive. They can get like 250 pounds.
They're
Like huge.
They're also like $100,000 because they're owned by like the super rich Chinese aristocracy.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get one. Do you think I can get a discount on it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think
either.
they're bred by like monks.
So
in Tibet.
there's different types of Tibetan Mastiffs. You can get a Tibetan Mastiff here in the United States that's not like a 6-figure dog, like a reasonable price dog.
Right, just like Queen Elizabeth had a shit ton of corgis, but you can get corgi here.
Yeah, exactly. In China, they breed them specifically to sell them for a shitload of money. So they like fro pick their all their hair. So they're these big fluffy dogs with giant manes and shit, and they're bred to be like as big as possible. Those are the ones. There was one that was sold for, I want to say like $500,000 a couple years ago.
What's crazy is those big dogs originated in Central Asia, like around there.
Yeah,
Like that was where they're from.
they would guard the flock.
Yeah, and then they brought the Molossus breed. I think it was Alexander the Great or someone was gifted dogs from Central Asia that were just these gigantic Molossus dogs. And that's like the basis of all Molosser dogs and like Great Danes, Mastiffs,
Yeah,
Bulldogs.
yeah. So I'm
Newfoundlands.
While they are affectionate with their own family, the Tibetan Mastiff is not a good family dog, being far too large and too protective. He is likely to mistake intentions of their family's friends. So I will not be going to your house with that fucking mutt.
No, I'm definitely not going to get a Tibetan Mastiff. Those are very, very expensive, even if you get one. Like
And the hair
in the
upkeep
United
would
States.
drive you nuts.
You got it, though.
That's, you know what, you're starting to sound like Big T, Arian. I feel like every episode,
You definitely got it, though, kid.
every episode, Big T speculates on how much money I make. Your pocket
He definitely
watching.
be counting your pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely counting your pockets. But
I'm envious.
I'm serious. You got it, though.
I'm probably gonna.
You're so silly. Subject change.
No, I'm saying I'm gonna adopt a dog. I'm gonna get one from a rescue place, but preferably a big boy or girl.
That shit weird.
What, dogs just in general?
Well, yes, but then adopting the dogs, it's like you're not adopting. It's just the whole thing.
You are adopting.
Whoa.
The whole thing. Oh, you don't know. I don't fuck with dogs.
Oh,
Fuck dogs.
man.
He hates dogs.
Hates them. Absolutely
All of 'em.
can't stand them. Even though there's many photo shoots of Arian back in the day being very friendly with
There's
dogs.
one photo shoot and that nigga didn't move.
Yeah, it looks like you're having a great time.
I wasn't. I told
Hypocrisy
him, like,
much?
if this dog, I told the owners, if this dog bites me, I'm gonna fuck your dog up. I'm just letting you know.
Whatever. So I'm gonna get a big dog, and then it's gonna be great.
Are you going to be?
I hope he turns on you.
I'll help you train it in Chicago.
Thanks, Chaps. Chaps
I
is
hope he
moving to
bites Chaps.
Chi-Town.
They won't. I was a dog handler for like 10 years.
I hope this one bites you.
No way.
My favorite video that Chaps ever put out was his two dogs, Baby Dale Woohoo, and Gussie Boy from Heaven Above.
That's right.
And Gus is like a Mastiff mix, right?
Yeah, Mastiff Ridgeback.
And so he's a big dog. He's got a big bed. Baby Dale Woohoo is he a rat terrier?
Don't you dare. He's a Chihuahua.
Chihuahua, sorry.
Rat terrier sounds better.
Little tiny dog. And the Chihuahua stole the Mastiff's bed. And then his Mastiff was sleeping on this tiny little cushion over
Like
the
a
corner.
cat-sized bed.
It's very cute. Arian, I have a question for you. Avatar.
Shoot.
How we feel?
Yeah, what of it?
Rate your excitement right now on a scale of 1 to 10 on how pumped, how jacked up are you to see Avatar?
I'm seeing it on Thursday night. I've been waiting on this for years when nobody around me was Avatar fans and they didn't believe me, and it feels like, Christmas is is coming early a little bit. You know, the season of perpetual hope is bringing me back. One of the greatest fantasy lands of all time. And I just can't put it into words, man. I'm rambling when I get emotional, you know.
So the reviews are really, really good for Avatar 2. I don't know if you've read any of them, but there's some people...
I haven't, and I won't. But of course, it's good. It's taken 10+ years, and James Cameron be knocking shit out the park, bro. I'm talking about they invented like some kind of submarine shit to do the filming for this, like. It's insane. Like, this is going to be amazing.
Is this another James Cameron water tank film? Do you think they got the old Titanic water tank out?
They might. He's obsessed with water.
Yeah. James
Cameron, like me, I'm an oxygen boy. Yeah. James Cameron loves water. Like, he would nut water if he could.
Oh, I heard this crazy story.
He drinks that stuff like it's beer.
That James Cameron was filming... a underwater submarine thing, like going to see the Titanic. And then in the documentary, while they were underwater, I think either looking at the Titanic or at like the lowest point of the ocean, they come back up and 9/11 happened.
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
There was a story that was kind of like that in the pandemic, where there was this submarine that was so deep that they didn't get any communication, and they go for like 6 months. And when they came out, they get like news briefs about what's been happening and things like that. And they thought that all the people were fucking with them. They're like, yeah, man, nobody went outside for like 3 weeks. Everybody just stayed in their house. There was like no bread, no milk, anything, and people couldn't go anywhere. And the submarine guys were like, that's not fucking true.
Yeah, it's a classic prank.
Yeah.
I was saying that when Jeff Bezos went to outer space on Blue Origin, when he came back, we should all just pretend not to know who he is.
Yeah.
Just be like, what's Amazon?
Also, that shouldn't count. I don't think that they go super high in the stratosphere. That shouldn't count.
It was lower than the highest recorded plane flight.
Right.
So there was a plane that flew higher than Jeff Bezos took the thing. I wrote a whole article on it. It was actually, it was fake space. Like, yes, there was technically zero gravity, but people have taken planes higher than they went up.
There's been a drone that's
not
been
commercial planes, though.
Not commercial planes, but like you could, there's Air Force pilots that flew higher than that.
I've gotten really into watching like airplane disaster films and like airplane disaster documentaries on YouTube. And there was, I don't know, it's just a weird thing that I'm into. Don't judge me. The algorithm got me. Arian.
I ain't mad at it. At least you're not a Nazi.
Maybe this is like on the path though. This is how they start to indoctrinate you, is through aviation movies. But there was this one where it was these two commercial airplane pilots that were flying. I think they call it like a deadhead flight. So they didn't have anybody on their plane. They were moving the plane to another airport so that they could in turn load it up the next morning to take a bunch of people somewhere. And they were flying this plane that is normally meant to go, I think, 35,000 at the tops, but it could potentially get up to like 42,000 as like the maximum flight ceiling for it. So they get in the plane and then they say, you want to try to take this thing as high as we can? They're just like broing out, just like taking it out for a spin. They climb up to 42,000 feet. And because they're using like the autopilot settings, there's not enough lift over the wings. It's not going fast enough to maintain altitude up there because the air is so thin. And so the plane starts to stall out and point down. They lose their engine power. And then instead of like calling back to like on the radio to get advice on how to restart the engines, because they technically weren't supposed to be up that high, they try to restart it on their own, and the plane just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. Damn. And then when they finally report it, they're like, hey, we've lost 2 engines. They give them the restart procedure, and they didn't have enough time to get it restarted. So they just crashed and died. The two pilots that just like took this plane out for a spin. But it was like a little bit funny listening to them as they're going up, because they're like, oh my God, we're fucking doing it. This is crazy. And then they get up to 42,000 feet and they look out and they're like, how does it look out of your window? And the guy's like, it's like pretty much the same as 35,000 feet. But they're acting like they're doing like the most reckless road trip thing ever.
And you would think pilots would know that, right? Like that's like a car driver. You know that going 120 is bad. Like, sure, can it do it? Yes. Should I do it down 95? Probably not.
Yeah, I guess they didn't realize that when the autopilot was set in, when they put in the altitude, that you would have to increase the speed, and you'd have to like pitch the nose up to maintain that altitude. And if you just pitch the nose up without increasing speed at that height, it's just going to stall the plane because you're going to go too slow.
Can you do that on your simulator?
I can, yeah. No, I've been up to 45,000 feet on my simulator in an F-15.
Did you know there's a drone that hasn't came down in a year and a half?
Is it refueling?
It has the power. It's illegal to do in civilian world, like for cars, but we have the technology to do it, where they essentially have eternal power because of the way that they go up and down. Shit. It creates the power of almost like a wind turbine up there, and it's in the stratosphere, like way up in the stratosphere. It flies around at like 40,000 feet. All those images that you see that are really accurate of like North Korea, China, it's from those types of drones that are going way up high that no other countries can even detect.
So it like free falls and like wind turbines charges a battery of some
Doesn't
sort?
free fall, it just goes up and down. Like it only adjusts like 150 feet the entire time.
How?
But it's just perpetual motion and perpetual energy.
How is that part of Newton's law that energy can't be created? Like,
Well, because it's using gravity as it goes down
right.
to build up energy to make it climb right back
But
up.
what's that perpetual
Now, you would think
movement
that at
machine?
some point, no matter like how efficient it was using that energy, at some point it would need to like recharge or get something else. But is it going to be up there forever?
Yeah, they could take them down. There was one that got taken down. It was the longest one that's been up there. And I think it was 2 years. You could probably Google it, unmanned drone for 2 years in the air. And it's a crazy story because I didn't know about it until about 6 months ago is when I saw it.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a picture drone, right? It couldn't drone strike somebody.
No. Definitely
Yeah.
not. It's just for pictures and things like that.
How does it, because perpetual motion, isn't that supposed to be like impossible?
By itself, yeah,
Yeah.
by somebody that can do it naturally made. No, there's been all kinds of cars that have tried to develop whenever you're going 80 miles an hour down the road, using that wind speed to keep
Right.
your car going, kind of like how a hybrid car
Yeah.
does. Like when you stop, it'll store up more energy. They're trying to find a way that all those gaps, I know Tesla is doing this, all those gaps that are in like
Right.
the grill of a car, that those bring in wind that in turn powers the car.
The turbine. Big oil doesn't want that.
No.
That would Qatar doesn't want that.
They don't. We the video just came out right now of Donnie and me going to the USA England game. So I guess I can say now we did acid and went to the USA versus England game. I'd never done acid before in my life. It was not a good place to do it for the first time. I don't know what it was supposed to feel like. I got really hot and sweaty, and I was like very on edge and paranoid about what was going on. I was like just trying to maintain the entire time I was in the stands. I think Donnie and I did a pretty decent job, I think, of keeping a level head while we were going through this. But Donnie got his hands on some acid over there, no idea how. And he was like, hey, do you want to do this? And I thought to myself, you know what? Like, I think I owe it to the people to take acid and to go to this game and to bring home a tie.
What'd you do in Hong Kong? Rolling, right?
MDMA.
Yeah.
That was the first time ever did MDMA, probably the last time that I'll do it. And I think I don't know if I'm going to do acid again. I didn't have a great time. I didn't have like a bad trip or anything. I didn't like psych myself out or go to a super dark place. It was just not a great environment, I don't think, to be like in Qatar where it's highly illegal.
Right.
And in a stadium filled with like 60,000 strangers with no beer in the stadium whatsoever. It was a weird environment to be doing it for the first time in. And I'm just happy that we got out of there and brought home a tie.
Acid seems like the scare. Like, I never want to do acid because being trapped in like a trip seems like the scariest shit like ever.
I think if you've got that mentality that you're going to have a bad trip going into it, it could probably be bad for you. And I'm not saying that acid's good because I personally don't even know. Like this, I'm a rookie when it comes to it. I am not a drug guy, despite the fact that like we joke about me being a drug guy a lot. And so I was just going into it. I was like, just everything's gonna be cool. I was forcing myself into a positive mindset. It was like do or die for me. I was like, you have to have a good mindset in this, or else it's gonna be hell on earth.
I think the best way to defend that you're not actually a drug guy is that you only do drugs for content.
Yeah, no, that's true. So
it seems like it. Like PFT is not doing acid randomly by himself.
right. I've never done acid before. Probably won't do it again. Haven't done MDMA since. Probably not going to do that again. It's just
Acid alone's a real cry for help. Like that's a real cry for help.
Dude,
Yeah.
there's some crazy stories. Everyone, the worst college stories I've ever heard involved acid. Like one time there was a guy who did a bunch of acid and was just who ate his iPhone. Like was chomping down on his iPhone.
sounds like a urban
no,
legend.
it's not. I was there.
You
The guy-
saw him eat his iPhone?
The guy went ballistic, was trying to bang down a door, then started biting down on his iPhone and like bit it. And this guy was like a 250-pound wrestler, and he was just going nuts.
He ate his iPhone.
Yeah,
He sounds like a dog.
dude,
Like
he was-
scratching down a door,
This-
chewing on things he shouldn't be chewing on.
This guy was pretty
Pissing
damn
on the
close to the
sidewalk.
cocaine bear. He was a very dangerous individual at that moment.
Wow. Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you do acid, do it in a safe place.
Like this
Not
guy,
guitar.
Not Qatar. I'd say that Qatar is probably bottom 5 country to do
Yeah.
acid in.
Yeah.
Just based on my own personal
Psychedelics are not like a party drug. It's not like something you take to like go have fun. It's like something you take for should be anyway, for like self introspection. So you're supposed to reflect on self and do it in an environment like with nature. You're supposed to have a spotter, somebody who's done it before, kind of ease you into the process. But it's not like for drugs. It's not like cocaine. Let's go do a hit ad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why people be having bad trips.
Yeah. I think if I do it next time, it'll definitely be in a more calm situation. I thought to myself when Donnie mentioned that he had it, I was just like, if there's one way to guarantee that people will watch this video, it's to just be like Donnie and PFT went to a World Cup game in Qatar on acid. That's just like
check it out.
that's just like gasoline on a fire. So
And he smuggled it in, right?
no, I don't think so. I don't know how he got it there.
we actually talked about it on extra dosing.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
It just looks like a dot on a piece of cardboard. So it would be very hard to distinguish like a piece of cardboard with a little bit of glue from a piece of cardboard with acid on it.
And dogs aren't trained to find that either.
Oh, acid?
It's one of the only ones that you
Doesn't
don't do
smell?
because it's just not a big enough concern to waste your time on it.
It's odorless, so they can't smell it.
They probably could pick it up because they can smell like cancer in people, but it's not something that we ever train for.
What are some things that dogs are trained to smell that maybe we don't think of? Because obviously they're trained to smell explosives, trained to smell like marijuana, cocaine. What else?
So I can explain that process if you want.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
how we do it. So with the dogs, for drugs, for example, if you're going to train a drug dog, there's 6 different types of drugs that you would use. So you use like MDMA, hash, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamines. So the theory behind that is it's kind of like teaching the dogs to find color. If you teach them to find red and blue, they're going to be able to find whatever purple. And if you do whatever, the colors that make all of the 6 will completely cover the spectrum of whatever drugs. Same things with bombs. There's 9 different types of primary explosives that people use. If you train them and they can find all of those 9, they can find the derivative of those 9 as well.
Okay.
Whoa. So the bomb dogs, let's say we're going to the airport. I flew somewhere for Thanksgiving. So I was in the airport and they make you walk past the dog and you have to walk across a floor and the dog's walking around with the handler. What are they sniffing for?
So it's called vapor wave. So whenever there's a vapor or there's a smell in the air, it travels along almost like if you put in, when you're watching the news and it'll have like different fronts that are coming in, smells will work in the same type of front direction where it goes up and down and then it'll eventually go up. They walk those dogs through and the dog could detect on the vapor if there's going to be explosive, and they'll show it. It's called a positive change. So they'll show a change of behavior and then the handler will know to look closer about what's going on. But to answer your original question, like termites, for example, on these long, like if you're going in Canada, for example, and they have a 15-mile long radius where they need to check out all these different poles because some of them have broke. They'll take these dogs that are trained to find termite, send it down the entire length, and the dogs will mark which ones they go because they'll stop, stare. The handler has binoculars and you could see the dog, so you mark that one that they're going to go check it out. They could detect cancer. They trained them on COVID when that was going on.
Whoa.
So basically anything they could figure. I mean, they can sense fear. They can, like, whenever you're going to a diabetic shock, that's how you know how serious it is. They pick up the lower level of sugar and insulin in somebody's blood before medical devices can.
Wow. That's insane.
So they're trained to sense fear.
Yeah, fear. And you could train them. So if you're training a dog to have a seizure, for instance, when somebody like if they see the hand of somebody start to shake a little bit, the dog knows to get closer because you train like it's successive approximation. You're going baby steps and how big you go up. Eventually, if you teach somebody the seizures, if you just move your hand like that, the dog will come and put their body on you as like a stabilizing force.
Wow. I saw this one video of this guy that was competing in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And he like was getting pinned. He was getting trapped on the mat by his opponent. And his dog comes trotting across the mat, comes up to him and just puts both of his paws like on the guy's chest to provide pressure, because I think it was like an anxiety attack that the dog was trained to spot. So it was like providing pressure on him, trying to get him out of it. And then the match obviously stopped, and then everybody in the like all the judges and the opponents just took turns like scratching the dog's ears, being like, good dog.
And a lot of times whenever you have that scenario when somebody passes out or faints, a lot of the dogs are taught to lay across the neck because like you can go cold, and whenever you warm it up, it's almost comforting to you. Like in nature, your mom doing that, essentially. That's what they're doing, is they're nurturing you back to being okay.
Whoa.
That's amazing. What about dogs now, Arian?
Don't care.
I mean, you know what? We should get a dog for Arian.
We should just show up
because
with a puppy.
this is the classic scenario where like
Get sent right back.
a dad gets a dog and he's like, oh, I don't want this stupid dog.
Next thing you know, he's in
Y'all
the
are saying-
recliner.
They're like the
Bro,
closest
I
friends
love
of all
it.
time.
I love that there are dogs that help people and save lives. That's amazing. But y'all are only telling one side of the story. It's fucking biased. Y'all ain't telling no stories about the project dogs that chase niggas down the street.
True.
Y'all ain't telling no stories about niggas that get bit. Y'all ain't telling all these other stories. So it's like, just provide a little balance. Y'all over here trying to make me out to be a bad guy.
Well, no, I mean,
That's not the case.
let's use our heads, Arian, because you always are one that would look at things in the correct perspective and say, why are we so afraid of sharks? Why do we hate sharks so much when we kill 67 million of them each year and they kill like 2 of us?
I would never. I know exactly why we're afraid of sharks.
But you don't hate sharks, right?
I'm not in proximity with them enough to have an opinion on them.
This is why he doesn't go to the ocean.
Niggas ain't walking down the street with sharks. You know what I mean?
I do
Okay,
think a
that's
lot
true.
of people are like, there's no bad dogs, and that's just categorically untrue.
My dad is also not a dog person because he was like attacked when he was younger. He like tells a story about how he like was with his brother sneaking into a junkyard, and literally he got caught by junkyard dogs. Like that was back when all those cartoon junkyard dogs like, were real. And he got caught by like a couple Doberman pinchers, and he just hates dogs. I love dogs. So, and he's even like a little wary around my dog. So I totally understand how like there's a definitely different viewpoint on dogs depending on your own personal experience.
The Doberman might be the most trumped up dog that there is, because if they don't have their like ears clipped and their tails cropped, they look like little pussies.
They're so goofy, yeah.
Yeah.
They look like Weimaranas, right? Is that the
Weimaraner?
Weimar? Yeah.
Billy used the German pronunciation of it.
Weimaraner.
Weimar. You have the Weimaraner?
You have to say Weimarana.
The Dobermans, when they got the floppy ears, they just look like a bunch of little goofballs.
Right.
And they're not intimidating at all. Rottweilers look scary no matter what, but they're
Yeah.
awesome dogs.
Right.
The ear clipping thing, I think it's unnecessary nowadays, but I understand why they did it, because my dog gets ear infections all the time, and I'm always putting drops in there. And I was like, well, the clip thing, played a role at one point.
To let it breathe more?
So it doesn't get like
the air gets trapped or whatever. Because
and then it gets moist, and then there's an infection.
It's yeast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it, but it's just so unnecessary nowadays. And if you're clipping your dog's ear, you're trying to look like you have a scary dog.
Yeah, just trying to make it look badass. If you want to look badass, the easiest way to do that?
How?
You don't have to clip your ears. You just go out, you buy a pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. Because Shady Rays offer the industry best combination of fit, style, and performance, but they don't have the big brand price tag on it. That's why I love Shady Rays. Shady Rays is the official sunglass of Macrodosing. It's the official sunglasses part of my take. It's the official sunglasses of life around the office here. They've got the best quality, and they've got the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or if you break your pair, even on day one, they will send you a brand new pair. Wear with confidence because Shady Rays has your back long after the purchase. They also provide 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order. Have donated over 20 million meals to date. Look good in your shades. Feel good by making an impact. If you don't love them, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. Their team always has your back. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the entire season. Go to shadyrays.com, use code MACRO, get 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. That's right, we're doing 50% off 2 or more pairs when you use promo code MACRO. Get 50% off 2 or more pairs of their polarized sunglasses. All right. Arian, how was your weekend? What'd you get into?
I golfed pretty much all weekend, man. Not gonna lie.
That sounds awesome.
My follow cart came in, the Stewart Q follow, not an ad,
wow.
just a happy fucking consumer. That thing is fire, dog. You put your bag on it, you got your little remote, you hook it to the back of your belt, you press follow on the remote, and it just follows you everywhere you go throughout the fairway, the rough, wherever you at. And you can even control it to the manual mode to where you can like put it next to the next tee while you putting on the green. It makes walking so much more enjoyable because you ain't gotta like actually push your car. It's like having a caddy. So it's like you really out there playing the course and you on tour or some shit. It's amazing, dog. It's amazing technology.
Any mishaps like hitting a child? Like Tesla?
No, there's
did?
there's no children
on autopilot.
He goes to, yeah. That'd be tough to explain. Sorry, my bag robot that I'm too lazy to push around ran over your kid.
Any missteps for it
okay.
though at all? Like going into a bunker, going into the water or anything?
Nah, I tried to. There was this one curve on this one part 3 where you kind of have to walk down and then walk up, and it's this concrete road that was kind of like real wavy. It fell on its side, but it was my fault. It wasn't that. I was just kind of trying to push it to its limit. But I just have no complaints with that thing. That thing is fire. And my first hole of the day, I birdied the first hole of the day. It was like, we set. I ended up shooting a 94, but.
Did you name your cart?
I should, huh?
You should name the robot, yeah.
I should, yeah. I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna give it some time, you know? You gotta really care about the...
I do like the idea of doing a recurring segment just called Happy Fucking Consumer. Like just a product that you purchase that you're very pleased with.
Well, let this be the opening episode because that motherfucker is it's like I think it's like 2,500, something like that. It's a lot of money, but it's
29.
I play so much golf. You said what?
I mumbled 29. I looked it up.
Oh yeah.
Well, it
okay,
depends 29. If you got the black or the carbon.
I got the black.
Okay, yeah, 29.
Yeah.
Does it have a speaker on it?
No, I put a little speaker in my bag, Bluetooth speaker in my bag. Got a little. This is what I'm saying. It's like a very enjoyable. If you like golf, it's like one of the most enjoyable things because I got the Bluetooth speaker. You know, I got the portable battery. I got the phone. We out there vibing with music, golf. It's just an amazing. I can't wait. I'm so mad. I don't know if I've never paid attention enough because I haven't been golfing like that.
Yeah.
But these last 4 months, I actually golfed 5 months. It's raining like a motherfucker in Houston right now. And I don't remember ever it raining this much. And I could be wrong, but it's just like every time it rains, I can't go golf. You know what I'm saying?
San Antonio,
so
same
maybe
way
I'm
right
just,
now. Yep.
Yeah, it's just annoying, man. So whatever, I'll get over it. It's a great product, though.
So, but you shot 94. What's your handicap at now?
It's still around like 19, 18. But I guarantee by the end of the year, I'm gonna get in the high 80s. It's like, you know, but so like before when I first was talking about or first was playing golf, I was shooting in the high 90s, low hundreds, but that was also like, oh, let me get a mulligan here. or let me move my ball out the way out in front of the tree. That's the kind of hundreds I wasn't. Right now I'm legit shooting like low 90s to where it's like I'm playing it for real, to where you play it as it lies, no mulligans, shit like that. Like, and so it's like it's legit. And so like I could actually see. I've been taking lessons and shit. Like, this shit's fun, man.
But you are tempted to take a mulligan, I imagine.
Nah, because it's like who you cheating at the end of the day. I would say who you fooling. It's like it's your score.
Yeah.
So it's like why play the game? Like if I go out with some of the homies and we just drinking and stuff, I'm not really keeping score like that. You know what I mean? Like we're playing good shots, having some drinks, shit like that. But like if I'm out there like really trying to score, I ain't trying to cheat myself. There ain't no point.
How far can you drive?
My farthest, it was a tad downhill, but my farthest it was like 350 something.
Damn.
It was like 352, yeah. But on average, it's not my average at all. On average, I'm probably around 280, 290. But I hit this, it was crazy because they had this like narrow fairway for par 4. And it's a narrow fairway and it was a short par 4. It's probably like 290. And so I just put my 3-wood out and I was like, I'm just gonna swing light because I don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get it in the fairway so I could play it. I hit that bitch on the green and had an eagle putt. It was shit flew and it was like it went like 290 with my 3-wood. So it's like, I don't know, when you start really practicing and stuff, you can see the the product of the work that you've been putting in. I've been really practicing that shit because I don't got nothing else to do. So
damn, that's pretty good. Excited. That's pretty good. I would like to get back on the course. I got these new clubs from TaylorMade. So I went and they did that like swing fitting thing. That's when I hurt my forearm, and they gave me like, I wanted to get the most elderly set of clubs possible. So I got like all hybrids except for I think I've got like a 7-iron, 8-iron, 9-iron, but I've got like 4 or 5 hybrids. I just want to be able to go out on the golf course and not lose every single ball, you know? Like I want to be able to be good enough at golf where it's fun, not where it's just a pain in the ass for everybody else that I'm with.
I got the new TaylorMades too, and I got rid of the Bryson DeChambeau, like the same linked ones. I had those. They worked pretty decently, but I always felt like a fucking idiot whenever I was walking around with those, and I would be paired with somebody else, and they'd be like, "Is that the Bryson?" Because that just makes me look like I am a huge Bryson guy.
Yeah.
Like that I just buy whatever he has. They're like, "Oh, cool. Do you have a Bentley in the parking lot too?" Like, no, I don't.
What's he up to these days? I haven't heard much from our boy Bryson, or big swollen steroid boy.
All those live golf guys.
Yeah,
I got caught in the he got caught in my algorithm for YouTube because I've been watching a whole bunch of golf YouTube videos, and so he pops up a bunch, and so I've watched a few of his videos. He's basically like trying to build his YouTube brand because like there's a part of the golf world that like hates all the live players. They feel like they sold out. And so like he's trying to like build the person. I mean, he seems like a cool dude to me. I don't got no qualms with him, but he just go out and, you know, shoot 9, shoot 18, play with other people. He collabs with a lot of other like internet golfers, like YouTube golfers. So
I imagine that he's probably not that fun to hang out with though. I've seen enough of Bryson.
Why? I've heard like there's like a lot of disdain towards him. I don't know why though. Like I haven't dug into it. I just see it. I see the beef online. Like I don't know what's the issue.
He's just a dork, and he's yelling at people. You can tell that he's a jerk because of how he acts towards people that are like working for the tournament out on the course. So like he'll scream at a rules official that comes over and gives him a ruling, and then call somebody else over. He's a big time like, let me see your manager kind of guy.
He's a Karen. He's a dude Karen.
He has a dude Karen.
And people also hate him because he takes forever.
Yes.
Like if he's playing, it'll take him 90 seconds, 2 minutes in between shots. Like even if it's, or longer than that, even if it's just like a pretty simple shot, he goes through like, where's the wind at right now? And looks through all of his charts and just fucking hit it, man. It's a 6-iron.
Yeah, he complains about everything. His sponsors even like had to release statements this year talking about what a piece of shit he is to work with. Because because they are trying to engineer clubs that are specifically to his. He's trying to invent new clubs essentially. Cobra. Because he's swinging so hard, and he wants them to create these new shafts and new club heads that have never been invented before. So they're trying to like do the science to figure out how to make it work. And occasionally they will have to pause and be like, we need to reevaluate our design because it's not working what we're doing right now. And then he'll get mad at them and publicly blame the company that he's working with for not being able to meet his specifications. But it's like, dude, these clubs don't exist yet. You're making them invent a new type of golf club based on what, like the mad scientist stuff that you've done to your own swing. And so his own sponsors have to like release statements being like, we do not, sorry, Bryson's being a jerk and he's completely alienated our entire product team, which is something that's very rare. It's rare to have like a company that's paying you millions of dollars to also have to release a statement like that.
I would imagine you'd be pretty pissed if somebody was like, hey, we're going to give you $10 million. Now go shit on everything.
Yeah.
That's not the way ads usually work.
No, usually not. Usually you can pay me anything and I'll talk about how great tailor-made clubs are. Man, I'm telling you, I'm hitting this thing a mile.
My
Chad.
personal favorite hamster wheel, the one that I always go to whenever I buy a new hamster.
Yeah. Billy.
I'm in the.
Yeah, go ahead.
So go ahead. Now I was just gonna say how to talk more golf. I'm trying to get a new driver. Mine's out of season. It's time to get a new driver.
We got to have you go golfing with Trent. Have you
Who's
and
Trent?
So you would love Trent. He's trying to break 90 for the first time.
So am I.
Yeah, so I think that would be cool. Team you guys up.
Let's
a little
do
bit.
it. Set it up when we go. I got the homie out. Oh, Victor Cruz. He be hella golfing too. I told him when I'm in New York in January. Let's get around together. That'd be a cool little thing to
That'd
do.
be a great video.
That would be great. Yeah, Victor Cruz, Arian, and Trent.
I'm hearing all this golf talk, and I'm just at the point in my life where I know at some point I'm gonna have to get into golf because it'll be the only sport that most people play together.
Yeah.
And I'm just in denial about getting to that point where it's like you can't play any real sports anymore.
Yeah, I could tell that you were over here like judging people for golfing.
I wasn't judging. It was just more like hearing like men talk about like prostate checks and stuff.
That's what you hear when people are talking about golf?
Yeah.
He's calling you.
What the fuck?
You might as well be talking about your buttholes.
Or tits.
I could see Big T getting really into golf.
I play golf probably 2 or 3 times a year. I'm not good at it at all. By about the 14th hole, I usually take off like 14, 15, 16 so I can really give it my all on the last 2.
Uh-huh.
It's too long. It's too hot. I only play like in the summer, like when I'm home for July 4th, I'll go with my friends and it's just 100 degrees. I'm not good at it. I don't have the time to like get good at it. And it's like hard to play here. So it's like, I do it a couple times a year, but it's not something I thoroughly enjoy necessarily.
It is tough to get good. That's the thing. It's like golf has such a high barrier for entry that if you're a kid and your family doesn't have a lot of money, like it's impossible for you to get into golf. Like with greens fees, clubs, balls, lessons, all that stuff. Even if you take lessons out of the equation, like golf is super expensive just to play. Whereas like basketball, you get a new ball.
I read an article that the 3 most difficult sports to get into for somebody that's not affluent, of course, like being like a horse racer or something like that, being a jockey, but it was gymnastics, swimming, and golf.
Yeah, swimming
Really?
shockingly expensive.
Yeah.
I grew up in gymnastics. It's really expensive.
Yeah, because the coaches, like if you're a gymnastics coach, you're raking it in.
Some of them, yeah. Like if you own the place, you're raking it in.
Yeah, if you own a gym, yeah. I would imagine, travel soccer is very expensive too.
Travel anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading something. Yeah,
I was telling Shorty the other day, I was like, if I was introduced to golf like at a young age, that I might have been a golfer. It's so like I fell in love with it, and it's just like everything an athlete wants that's competitive.
But do you think
like,
anything
also,
like for your age group, like being able to go out there to a really beautiful setting, do you think you would have appreciated that? Because I think as you're older, looking onto the course and seeing how it's manicured, how it's taken care of, you appreciate it more as you're older than as a kid.
Well, I think I've never really cared about. I don't even care about that now. Like, honestly, I think what draws me to it more than anything now is that you're not playing against anybody. You're playing against yourself, right? And that's kind of a cliche to say, but it's the realest shit ever. And so it's like you're constantly fighting your tendencies as an athlete or just as a human to do things that feels instinctual. That's why a lot of golf is like counterintuitive. So like I'm an ex NFL athlete that when I try to swing as hard as I can to hit the ball, it don't go nowhere, or it goes left, or it goes right. But when I easy take a swing with the correct technique, and it doesn't feel like I'm putting any effort in it, the bitch goes 320. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're fighting yourself constantly, and it's like this never-ending journey to try to perfect consistency, and you're never going to do it. And I think that's why it's like a lifelong game, and it's a lifelong journey. And so I think it's why a lot of elderly people, especially like retired people, play it a lot, is because it's just something that will constantly challenge you. And it's you. It's not, you're not fighting. Like there was so many, I used to hate playing ball, like for a simple reason, like I think I've said it before on this podcast, but like I could have the greatest game I've ever had, right? Or felt the greatest. But like if my teammates don't do what they're supposed to do, like I'm not getting any yards. You know what I'm saying? There's so many other variables. When it's golf, it's just you. Like, there are other sports that's like that, but that's what I fell in love with. And I think at a young age, I would have enjoyed, to answer your question, that was very long-winded, but I would have enjoyed at that age mentally challenging myself, because I mean shit, I was a 12-year-old taking a bike across the city to go run hills. So it's like I knew discipline, I knew how to be disciplined, but it was just applied in that sport because that's all I knew and that's all I was introduced to.
When you were taking your bike across the city to run hills, were you like, was there one hill that you're like, I got to get to that? That's the good hill that I have to train on?
Yeah, so my dad trained me when I was real young, and he was like, this is the best hill, because they was doing construction at this place and it was sand. So it was like you were running in sand and you were going uphill. So it was like extremely good for training purposes. And so that was the only hill from that area that we saw that was the perfect distance, and had other things around it that I could do some small drills around, like warm up and stuff. But yeah.
That sounds like a great hill, actually.
Sand dunes.
Good hill. Great hill.
Who's the one who did footwork drills in Tim's on the beach?
I don't know.
That sound like something silly.
Do you like golf more than football?
Right now?
Just I mean, I guess, but just like in general. Like you said, if you'd been introduced to golf as a kid, you would have wanted to play golf.
I've never. Okay, that's a good question. I think I've never. So football was something that I enjoyed doing, but I never liked practicing. I fucking hated practicing. Hated learning the playbook. I hated the feeling before I went in a game, that it's just this gut wrenching like anxiety. Oh my God, the buildup and the tension. I hated that. But as soon as the ball snapped and you get hit first, that goes away. And then you enjoy it. But there's just so many, like, I enjoyed it for sure. But like with golf, I just can't wait to go practice. I've never felt like that about a sport. Like I hated training for football. I hated running them hills. I could not stand lifting weights. Hated all that shit. But I did it. And I did it well. And that's I guess I learned a lot about myself throughout the process. But I've never had a sport to where I was like, I cannot wait to go do this. Like, I just, maybe it's just a now thing, but that's how I feel right now. I just love this shit. Like it is consuming me.
So when you're 12 years old and you're running these hills and you're hating every second of it, are you just thinking to yourself the whole time, like you're doing this because you've got a greater goal, I don't know what that goal was, or like, what were you thinking about as the reason for why you're doing this thing that you hate?
Yeah, means to an end. I knew, I didn't know. I thought I knew. I thought I knew that was the pathway to get to the NFL. And so it was instilled in me at a very young age that it's possible from my father. But I had to set realistic goals. This is great. Matter of fact, this is great. Maybe I've said this too, but for all those young people out there, if you have goals, write them down. Put them in the mirror in the bathroom or at your door before you leave, somewhere you're gonna see. So my dad told me to do this when I was young, and he's like, okay, what do you want to do? I said, I want to make it to the NFL. Well, how do you make the NFL? Well, I gotta get in college first. Well, if you gotta how do you get into college? How do you get a scholarship? Well, you gotta start on your team first. Well, how you start on your team first? Well, you got to beat everybody around you. Well, what do you got to do to beat everybody around you? And you write each one down. And I got to be faster than this guy. Well, how do you get faster than this guy? Well, you got to train like that. So you start knocking down these goals. You start writing down these goals, and the far-fetched goal at the end of it seems less far-fetched because you broke it down into segments, and you can do something daily to attack that big goal, but it's small increments. And so he said, if you write your goals down, one or two things are going to happen. You're going to wake up every morning and you're going to hit and you're going to do it and you do it, and you'll fall somewhere around your initial goal, or you're going to rip it down because you can get tired of seeing it because you're not doing the shit you need to do every single day. And that was one of the most powerful things my father ever taught me. And so as a 12-year-old, I just had these grandiose ideas of what I wanted to do. I wanted to get my family out of the circumstances we was in. I just knew I had the fear of being broke when I was little. I just had the biggest fear ever. And so all my energy went to that. And so everything that I could do or would do, I got the homies used to be, I was in San Diego this month. My man's had a baby, and we were just joking. Like the whole crew was around. Like I used to go run laps around the track, like before practice, after practice, and they used to clown me. Like I used to get clowned all the time, and it was just jokes and shit. But like, I was just focused. I just had a goal, and I did everything I could to get towards that goal.
Do you think the process of getting better in golf is much different than football? Like I would imagine the incremental gains that you can make in golf, you see the result really quickly, and that you are getting better. Did you ever feel that in football when you were at the top of your game? Like that there's these little incremental steps that I could make? Or did you feel like you topped out when you were destroying the Jags every year?
It's like yes and no. So I don't think you get good in golf that fast. I think I'm probably a little bit, more inclined to do that show because I spent so much years like controlling my body. And so like most people aren't going to get good that fast, but you see small improvements. But for me, my improvements have been happening pretty fast because I'll listen to the coach. Yeah. I'll apply it right there. And they're like, well, it's good when you know how to, control your body. But in football, I used to tell people like that's why I hated about it so much. Is like I spent the entire year training for it and only get to play 16 times a year, or 12 or 14 if I'm in college. It's not that many. You don't get to play football that much. Like even if you're in practice, it's these simulated and isolated instances, whether you're running plays or working on situations. And so you can see improvement in your game in football, but it takes a longer time to play it out, in my opinion, rather than golf. But also, it's also contingent on, like I said, all the other variables. Like I could be way faster, but if I'm behind the third team O-line and I can't get busy, then ain't nobody going to see the improvements in the game. You know what I mean? And so you have to wait on certain breaks, and a lot of things have to fall your way. I always tell people, man, if you have any kind of success, especially in sports, man, you got a lot of luck that came your way.
Yeah. And so what's your goal at right now for golf? If you were looking at that vision board, what's the ultimate thing?
So right now, my goal is I have a goal to get into the 80s by the end of December, and I'm so close. I tricked it off the other day, fam. Oh my god! So I had 2 holes left, and I was sitting like at 80 or 81, like something like that. And I was like, done. We got it. It's in the bag. And on the last hole, I think I had like 5 shots. So I was like at 85, and I was like, we got it. No, 84. I was at 84. I was like, we got it. I drove that bitch like 3-something, and I'm 50 yards in, and I'm like, this is money. We did it. I ended up with a fucking 7. The chip went all, the green was slanted. I misread putts. I 3-putted. It was just bad. So, but like that's anyway. The goal is to be in the 80s by December, and the goal is by the end of next year to be able to shoot par.
All right,
it's lofty. And then
we're gonna get you on the senior tour.
Why I gotta be on the senior tour? Man?
I think that's such a great goal. Like, what if you
36, bro? What you mean? Okay?
Because Arian, you got listen, you're making incredible.
I'm gonna sell out. Live tour. Live tour. I'm gonna get me a live contract. Fuck that.
Yeah, that contract will last until MBS hears the episode that we did last week about him. And then
that's what's up.
Then he'll send his Falcons
sign-up bonus.
I think MBS did help broker the deal, Merchant of Death, and Brittany Griner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That occurred.
He was involved, I think.
Chaps, do you know anything about?
Yeah, the Saudi and like them and UAE always kind of work together. Like if there's anybody that we really don't like Iran, we go through either Saudi or the UAE and have for like generations, really.
Did they get a cut?
I think they get continued relationships with the United States. Like I think that's a big reason why Saudi Arabia, besides the oil, because everything else in their government, almost all Americans hate. But they like the fact that we can get oil and that there'll be intermediaries on even Russia. Like Russia will use them, Iran will use them, other countries in Africa will use them, like South Sudan use them a lot.
Yeah, there was actually a video of the tarmac with Brittany being led from like one plane and the Merchant of Death being led. It looked like a scene from a movie.
Right. Of all the government shit, that's exactly the most accurate is prisoner exchange.
Yeah, it was crazy watching it. It's like, holy shit, this is actually... Like, I almost expected after Brittany, like, crossed the line over or whatever to get to the U.S. side.
Snatch her back.
Yeah, like, or some team would, like, go in and swoop down on the Merchant of Death and, like, take him back in the helicopter.
And what you don't see on those ones is heavily armed people on both sides and inside the, like, usually limousines. Do you remember when Bo Bergdog got exchanged for the 5 high-ranking Taliban members?
Yep.
That was the same situation. But that scene looks so much different because they all came in on Blackhawks. So they... Like CH-77s or 47s were dropping down, and then everybody got out. Bo Bergdahl still had like the sandbag cover on his head, and then they took it off right before he was exiting the helicopter.
Oh my god!
So then he couldn't even tell them like where he came from. Like they picked him up in a helicopter with this thing over his head, so they couldn't even bring you back to like where their headquarters was.
What do you think? Like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Trigger discipline. What's the trigger discipline like during an intense hostage exchange like that? Are they?
Is it safety off?
Is it safety off or safety on?
I would imagine in those, like for me, whenever I was rolling through like Fallujah, I was always safety off. Like it depends on how much the threat is imminent. So I would imagine in those moments, they clicked off safe for sure.
And that you're just...
I would have. I mean, if I'm there and I know that the situation is that much, I'm not waiting, because even in the heat of the moment, you have no idea in a firefight how often even military guys will, and ladies, will not click over to fire. Where they go to the first one and it's stiff. They do that all the time. Police officers may miss 82% of their first shots fired because of nerves.
So would you, in a situation like that, are you looking at like all the Russian soldiers? Are you like looking at their hands, or what are you looking at?
You can kind of pick up uneasy, like somebody looking uneasy, and everybody else knows, because you have very particular types of people that do that, like high level personnel security and things like that are extremely well trained. So they can pick up on body language, but both sides have those. Like if you talk large scale militaries, ours would destroy anybody else in the world. When you're talking about elite fighters, there is other countries that have the same type of in-person capability.
What's one country that you think is like under the radar? They might not have the depth Poland, really?
Oh shit.
Their dudes are hardcore?
Yeah, Poland. I mean, I personally believe that the roughest people on the planet and the least people that I would want to fight in a group is Chechens. Like the people from Chechnya are fucking no.
Because
that's
all they've had is
UFC.
war.
That was one of the biggest times I was nervous. We were operating in an area outside of Fallujah, and they said that there's Chechnyan snipers in the area. And I was like, fuck, because they've only done war for generations.
Yeah.
And their shooters don't give a fuck. They are fearless. And when we found out that there's Chechen snipers in the area, we had to rechange some things. Like because they are very, very capable.
What was Chechnya doing down there, like rolling with Iraq? They
just mercenaries. Like because they've done it so long, they'll just be mercenaries.
So like if there's a war going down for the right price, you can get some Chechens.
For example, like whenever you're dealing with somebody who's a sniper from that area, typically they'll have like a sniper hide wall, like that you have just a break in it where you could put the barrel. But in those situations when that happens, you could pick up on muzzle flash whenever they're not far enough back. Chechens are experienced enough that they know to go to the back of the room and create the hole that the bullet is going to go out where they have the target.
So they're firing through a hole,
So
but from across the road.
And they use a type of suppressor that goes on like the end of a 50 caliber sniper rifle or bigger sniper rifle that makes the sound engulf you instead of coming out. Because a normal like AK-47, you can hear where the sound dissipates, and you can hear like the bullet's coming to you, it feels like a snap, like you hear a snapping that's going overhead. When you're behind the bullet, that's when you hear the loud bang. So if you hear the bang, you're behind the bullet. If you hear snapping and it sounds like snapping, it's going over your head, that's a round coming at you.
Yeah, I told somebody that the other day because I think you had tweeted about that. And somebody was asked, because we heard something that sounded like gunfire. And I was like, here's what Chap says. If you hear the popcorn sound, like the bangs, if you hear the bangs, at least the person's firing away from where you're at at that point.
If you hear snaps that are going against the wall or over your head, you're in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Okay.
So those Chechens, they weren't like joining it, like they weren't on a jihad trip. They were definitely getting paid by.
Yeah,
Iraq.
a lot of them get paid like for doing that kind of stuff. Like, and that's not just them. That's what the Wagner Group started as in Russia, was doing mercenary shit.
Yeah, we were talking about Donnie and I were talking about the Wagner Group on extra dosing. And is it true that they purposely chose like an Anglo-Saxon type name, Wagner, so that you couldn't really pick up that it was just basically the Russian mercenaries?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, consider me like I'm never gonna fuck with the Chechen.
Well, now the Chechens are in Ukraine.
Yeah, on the beside the Russians, and a lot of that's because they're mercenaries. They're hired. Like, they are hired folks that go out.
Why don't we just pay them more to stay home?
Because they hate us. Like, I think they're one of the biggest groups that hate us. Like, any group that's the reason why Chechens will go against any place that America's on. They'll join their side so they can fight us.
And they're technically Russia.
And they hate us because of what we've done in the Balkans.
Yeah,
over
finance
the last,
a lot of their enemies.
20 years, 30 years. Man,
Also,
it gets complicated.
I mean, now where were the Chechens? Which side were the Chechens on during like the Soviet-Afghan war?
I'm not sure.
Where'd they fall? Was that back when Russia was still enemies with them?
That's like way outside of anything I would know.
Yeah, because I remember there's a crazy video of a Russian, like Russia was invading Chechnya, and there was a Chechen guy and a Russian guy, and they both served together at some point. It was like after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and they were like talking like, Dmitry, don't come in here, send your men back, because if you don't, they're not going to come home. And they're like, we know each other, but like they were fighting, and it's just like an intense video. That, like,
and that's pretty common talk between two militaries. Like, one of my favorite General Mattis quote is, I come in peace with tears in my eyes. I'm pleading with you, but if you fuck with me, I'll kill you all. And he said that in a tribal council meeting just outside of Baghdad when they first got there, because they were like playing some games, and he was telling them, we will fucking kill everybody in this room.
That's Mad Dog. That's the original Mad Dog. All right. Well, anybody else have anything we want to get into here before we get to the rest of the show? It's brought to you by Hey Dude. I'm wearing the Hey Dude shoes. I'm holding the Hey Dude shoe right now if you're watching on YouTube. These shoes are incredible. They're great house shoes. They're great quick put on shoes. Billy always says if he's got to put on a pair of shoes to go walk the dog, they're always the Hey Dudes. I wear them if I'm going across the street to the store, if I'm just going around the neighborhood, a lot of times around the office. Perfect office shoes. The best TV watching shoes of all time, I would say. Hey Dude, check it out. You know that feeling of coming home after a long day, sinking into your favorite chair on the porch, popping open a beverage and feeling the good vibes instantly wash over you? That's exactly how your feet feel the second you slip on a pair of Hey Dude shoes. Hey Dude makes some of the comfiest, lightest, and coziest shoes out there. Easy to put on, and they look good with just about everything. Some even have the interior faux fur linings that are perfect for winter weather and the holidays. Try a pair for yourself, your first step inside, and your toes are officially on chill mode. Great gifts, too. This would be great for your parents. If they're looking for a nice, comfortable pair of shoes to wear around the house, Hey Dude is the best that you can do. Come to think of it, Hey Dude shoes are kind of like a home for your feet. Welcome home, toes. Use code BARSTOOL for 15% off at heydude.com. Grab a pair for yourself or as a gift to special guys and gals in your life this holiday season. That's heydude.com. Hey Dude, good to go.
Do we want to talk about something that's happening?
That's a great question, Mad Dog.
Do you know what I'm talking
Do we
about?
want to talk about something that's happening?
That we maybe just solidified?
Yes. We are going to be doing a live show.
We are.
I almost said January 6th.
Nope. January.
Live show, big event. Come on out. January 26th. January 26th.
In New York.
Here in New York City, greatest city on earth. That's what Big T said. Come on out. What's the name of the place that it's at?
It's at Sony Hall.
Sony Hall. Sony Hall. Come out January 26th. When do tickets go on sale?
They are on sale today at noon. So if you're listening to this on Tuesday and it's in the afternoon, tickets are on sale.
That's a Thursday night. Arian, you're coming up for it, right?
I'm out there, dogs.
All right. And you know what? It's a Thursday night. We'll go out and have a couple drinks afterwards.
Whoa.
So come have some beers with us after the show. It'll be a good time.
You know what's near there.
Billy just perked up so hard when I said we're going to have beers afterwards.
Well, you could be a client and get entertained.
You could be a client and get entertained by Billy if you come to the live show.
The best restaurant in New York
That
City
sounds
is very
wild.
close to where this is.
Shake Shack.
And they specialize in beers.
What's that?
Yard House, Times Square.
Oh,
The best spot in New York City.
Really?
I was going to say Margaritaville. Wait, are we close to Margaritaville?
They're across
it's
the street.
It's in Hell's Kitchen.
We might have to go to Margaritaville after the show.
Do we?
I'm in there.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
I'm gonna go to each one of y'all's liquor spots and I'm getting lit.
Yeah,
after the show.
After the show, meet me underneath the Statue of Liberty's dress in Margaritaville in that special table that they have there. And the boys are going to be slamming some daiquiris. It'll be a good time. So come on out. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It'll be a blast. We're waiting on confirmation. We might have a very special guest.
The day before that.
Oh, no, I'm saying
Oh,
I'm
at
excited.
the
I'm excited
show?
if that shit falls through.
Yes.
a special guest at the show itself.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Big cat.
Big Cat will not be there.
Wait, I have no idea what you're talking about.
You
It was in the
you
group
should.
chat.
We've
Yeah.
we've
Jesus
discussed it in this
fucking-
room.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
You'll be surprised too then.
Yeah, so
We're not
Billy
gonna
is
tell
not going
Billy.
to find out.
Now I
and
remember.
Y'all and Billy would be surprised.
Yeah.
Now I remember.
All right, so come on out. We can't wait to see you guys, and we'll entertain you. You will be a client for an evening. That's what we'll call the Macrodosians that attend. They will be Billy's clients, and make sure to bring your party pants.
Second edition of the lib detector test, I assume.
Yeah, we're bringing it back. Going to have to. The lib detector test was maybe the best part of our first show. Big T got to the bottom of some of the political affiliations of the people in the audience. Big time. All right, so
Imagine Big T just like that became his act, and he went on tour, going like city to city.
It was a hit.
the
It
new
was a
Jeff
hit.
Foxworthy.
Lib.
You might be a lib. What were some of the ones
God.
last time? It was like, if you've ever eaten a Beyond Meat patty,
No,
you might be a lib.
Shut up, dude. The one I remember was, what's your favorite SNL cast member? And I forget what the guy said, but any answer to that question meant you were a lib. There were several
Unless it's
others,
Norm
but
Macdonald, right?
Yeah, Norm.
I don't know that much about him. I don't know if he was. I
What
don't
about-
know
it's
his
more just the
political
insti-
leanings.
the
Yeah, but if
institution
you're
of
watching
SNL.
SNL in 2022,
On NBC.
What about Steve Martin?
What about
again,
him?
I don't.
Like he was a.
Is
he's
Steve
an
Martin a conservative?
No, but he's like well loved, cheaper by the dozen. He's an SNL cast member.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But a lib.
Billy, there've been a ton of very well loved SNL cast
Adam
members.
Sandler.
Chevy Chase.
No, everyone hates Chevy
Everyone
Chase.
hates
That's-
Chevy
right, right.
You
Chase.
picked the one guy that everyone thinks sucks.
No, I think Chevy Chase is funny from stuff I like in Community.
Yeah.
I know he's probably a douchebag.
Yeah.
But
He's
what
renowned.
about that answer? Is that a lib answer?
I've already explained the joke, so you can keep naming people. But
What about Dennis Miller? Dennis Miller, people forget
Eddie Murphy.
Monday Night
Adam
Football
Sandler.
legend.
again, Billy, I explained what the joke was.
Do you guys remember when Dennis Miller was on Monday Night Football?
Mm-hmm.
That was so bad. It was so bad.
I don't remember that.
So he did all these like crazy historical references, but like it did not work at all in a football booth. I remember I tuned in. It was like week 2, and Dennis Miller's doing his like introduction monologue in the booth, and he goes, "I haven't seen murkier bloodlines since the House of Plantagenet." And I looked at my dad. I was like, "Are we watching a football game right now?"
Who was the host when he was doing it? Like the analyst?
It might have been Dan Fouts.
Play-by-play? Yes, that's right. Yeah,
I'm
I think
not-
it was.
Let's see, Dennis Miller, Monday Night Football. It was a disaster.
And that's when Gruden came in after that, right?
I think so. Oh no, there were a couple years. I think it went to Tony Kornheiser, Joe Theismann, and
That was equally as bad.
Mike
that was
Patrick.
terrible.
Dude, Kornheiser and Theismann hated each other. Theismann sucks. You know how bad you have to, like how shitty your personality has to be a Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins quarterback and to have me hate you?
Yeah.
Like, you're a jerk. We'll get to the bottom of Dennis Miller on Monday Night Football on a future episode because, man, there's a lot of meat on that bone. But we will.
What are we thinking for Thursday's episode?
Oh, good question, Billy.
Let me
Should
look
probably
at my
brainstorm
list.
that.
A lot of journalists just dropping dead in Qatar.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Multiple.
Chaps
Multiple.
has to get going. So, Chaps, we'll let you head out. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Chaps.
Big T, who else was it?
Another guy just died today or yesterday. I forget.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my God.
Damn.
He was Qatari, I believe. I'm trying to
I
find his
would
name.
not be conspiracy brain. I think I put this into the group chat. I would not be surprised if there was some sort of assassination method that looked like bronchitis was killing people.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's potassium cyanide.
That's what it is.
Photojournalist
Could look like
Khalid Al-Maslam from Qatari news channel Al-Qas TV passed away on Saturday. Also covering the World Cup after Grant Wall died on Friday.
Because during COVID, during the COVID shutdowns in China, there was a lot of political dissidents, quote unquote, to the CCP who died of COVID.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably correct.
But they were like young.
I think the Grant Wall thing was surreal when it hit on, was that Friday night?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the timing seems like it's too much of a coincidence. Like
Yeah, I don't
Do
know.
they have any evidence? Has any evidence came out? Like,
no evidence yet that I've seen, but I mean the timing is just like it's beyond suspicious because he was the loudest, most critical voice of Qatar and FIFA, and he was in good health, and he got sick over the course of that week, but that could be symptoms of potassium cyanide poisoning, which is something that, like, I know Russia does a lot of that stuff.
I don't believe in coincidences of that magnitude.
Yeah.
Like if for those of you who aren't familiar, because I wasn't exactly familiar with the guy before, but the tweet that went viral, the guy with the LGBTQ plus flag shirt, wearing a flat cap, who said he was denied entry from the stadium, he was who died. And apparently, if you look into him, he's, looks like he's in great shape, like great physique.
He was
they say
also
he had a heart attack.
Died of bronchitis.
bronchitis. I
Oh, it's
believe.
bronchitis.
He went into cardiac arrest at the
That's
game.
what
At the game, like, of the Netherlands. It was the Netherlands-Argentina game, and so his heart stopped. They tried to revive him. He was diagnosed with bronchitis earlier in the week, but bronchitis could result from, like, any number of things could cause bronchitis, and then bronchitis could in turn cause other things to go wrong in your body. So they don't know.
Are they gonna give his body back to America, or?
Last I heard was the State Department and the Biden administration was in touch with the Qatari government trying to secure the body. And I don't know what's happened. They haven't really been very public about that, nor would I expect them to be. But I would imagine that we probably did everything that we could to get the body to the military base that we have in the area over there to have an autopsy performed.
Damn.
I mean,
that
when
shit
we were
wild.
worried about you, PFT, like,
So, like, Donnie and I, in retrospect, were perhaps a bit cavalier with some of the things that we were doing. And thank God that the Qatari government doesn't have a sense of sarcasm and couldn't detect what we were actually saying about them. But we probably did not take the threat as seriously as we should have. I'll say that.
yeah.
We kind of skated by in a little bit of our, like, privilege to be like, oh, nothing's going to happen to me. I can make fun of.
Is that protester dude still alive who ran out justice for Iranian women, LGBTQ?
I don't know.
Ukraine. See,
Don't know. I don't know the guy's name, so it's tough to figure it
you
out.
guys know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah, but that's going to be a very tough person to look up because nobody knows what his name was.
I know. I mean, he could be
But
Adios.
yeah, I mean, it's awful for Grant Wall's family and his friends and his colleagues. Just something that he was probably the biggest name in American soccer journalism, and it's insane what happened. And I hope that we figure out exactly what it is. And like I don't know what to think. Like I guess hopefully it's not foul play. I think that's fine to. That's my initial reaction. Is like I hope that it's just a big coincidence. If he passed away, I would rather it be just a freak occurrence than to have it be foul play, because then that opens up a whole nother box that we'll have to deal with. But if somebody fucked with him and poisoned him, then like we're gonna have to do something about it. So I don't know what that's gonna be. But if I was a journalist over there, I would get the fuck out. That's where I'm at right now. Like if I was still in Qatar, I'm on the next flight out. Fuck that. Not worth it.
Also, remember, you know what was getting weird? Remember that one video? I think it was a Peruvian or Ecuadorian who's playing Qatar early in the elimination in the pool play. It was a South American country, and the guy stands up and just starts giving the money symbol, and then some Qataris, a couple seats back, just start yelling at him to sit down and shut up, and then that video goes viral, and then a video then surfaces of that guy sitting next to the guy he was yelling at, who I think was Ecuadorian. And they're like, we're friends now. Everything's fine. Like soccer, football gets very heated. And I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's scary.
But
It's crazy seeing like Westerners like really try to like change culture. Like, you know, like they have thousands and thousands of years of their culture, like, and it's just not going to change. And it's like I seen this one like Twitter thread of some dude saying that from over there, and he was like, no matter how much you guys try to enforce that, like, we don't believe in that shit. And it's just like I that's the one place where I'm like, I'm not really like I don't really want to visit like that, like the Middle East. And I know a lot of it is a little overhyped, but I mean, there's a lot of shit over there. Like I could, like, if I couldn't make it over there, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an atheist. Like that shit. A lot of I wouldn't fuck around. I just wouldn't fuck. I respect they. You know what I'm saying? I respect their beliefs. It's just like I wouldn't. I just wouldn't fuck around with it, because it's like people don't play about that shit. Like, it's different. It's not here. Like, niggas is Christian here, but not really. Like, niggas is, that's what they do over there. So it's like I just wouldn't fuck around with it. Like.
Yeah, the World Cup, I think, should just never have been put there in the first place, because you're going to run.
That don't make no fucking sense, man. That shit make, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Money
you
talks.
want to have, but at to what cost? You know what I mean?
They're trying to make Qatar a tourist destination.
And Qatar will never be a tourist. As somebody that just got back from there, there's no reason to go visit Qatar in terms of tourism. There's just not. I mean, it's a brand new city. For the most part, it's got some crazy, spectacular architecture, but there's nothing to do over there. It's a tiny country, and if you want to go to the Middle East and have fun, you just go to UAE, which is a couple hours away, where you can actually have fun and do stuff. Qatar is not a fun place to visit. It'll never be a tourist destination.
See, when this came out, and obviously your initial thought is that's a little too much of a coincidence. Then I started to think, why would Qatar want this?
Yeah.
Because this whole thing was supposed to be, you know, good publicity for them. But then you think about it, it has not accomplished that at all. Nobody is being like, wow, Qatar's actually done a really good job putting this on. Like, maybe we should, you know, think of them more favorably. That certainly hasn't happened. You have Westerners coming into their country kind of flaunting in their face, like, we don't, like, with the way y'all do things, we don't agree with. And I think it's very plausible that they maybe had enough and something bad may have happened.
Yeah. We don't know. It could have been the government. It could have been like a rogue Qatari person that was like, fuck this guy. I'm mad at him. I'm going to take him out. It could have been any number of things. It does. So in a way, it's kind of like, you remember we were talking about MBS and Khashoggi.
Yeah.
And how like MBS didn't realize that if you kill a journalist, it becomes like a big deal. And if he had to do it over again, probably wouldn't have done that because it's become a huge pain in his ass. There would be a similar connection there in terms of like if it was the Qatari government that did something to Grant Wall, then they probably did not understand what the ramifications were going to be and how big of a deal it, because over there, like journalism isn't, people wouldn't have that spotlight on them. If a journalist disappears, it's like, okay, that happens from time to time. But here it's like, it's a big fucking deal. And if he did do it, if the government did do it, they probably didn't know that it was going to be a big deal, and it's going to blow up in their face big time.
And like you just said, even if it wasn't the government, how many super rich people are there in Qatar who have the means to make something like that happen?
A lot.
If it was just a random.
I mean, think about it. Like 9/11 wasn't exactly the Saudi, like may have not. There was probably just some super rich Saudi delegates who helped it happen. Like these things can happen with the amount of money, power, and influence there.
So who knows what happened, but it's
or flip side,
it's gonna be almost impossible to investigate that shit too, right?
Yeah.
Like you
And
find out,
can't convict, kind of like Casey Anthony. It's just what it is, you know.
we might have to get into Casey Anthony stuff on Thursday's show.
That's fine. I definitely watched y'all's the other side of the propaganda.
I can tell that you remain unconvinced that she did it.
Bro, that shit was a big old nothing burger, and you know it. You know it.
Also,
It was just a bunch of character assassination. It had no evidence, zero evidence actually.
There was
nothing.
It was all interviews with her and like actual.
All it was doing was saying, if your daughter just died, would you have done that? Isn't this kind of suspicious? Isn't that kind of weird? That's all it is. That's not evidence.
I mean, I think
Watch what I'm saying, but I never said she was 100% innocent, right? If I did, I'd totally retract. What I meant was, like dogs, there's just not enough evidence to convict her. Did she have something to do with it? Maybe, possibly, probably.
By the way,
that's I actually watched a juror from the case, and she was talking, she was getting interviewed, and she was saying the same thing. She was like, there just wasn't enough evidence to convict. Like, it just wasn't.
You know what I saw? A theory I saw that actually made a lot of sense to me. And so the nanny name she gave, Zanny.
Yeah.
Zenaida.
Mm-hmm.
So some people say that that's what Casey Anthony would say when she gave Kaylee Xanax. Who's looking after the kid? Oh, Zenaida.
Yeah, that was in the documentary.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, and but they were saying that they never actually saw Casey give Xanax to the kid.
Right, but like you
And
wouldn't.
the coroner didn't find any like in her body.
Oh. But I just saw that and I was like, that's another possible thing that could have happened where.
Those words are similar.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
It was a whoa moment when they said that. It was like, Xanax, oh my God. But then they're like, oh, there's no evidence that actually happened.
Yeah.
But it does sound the same. All right, we'll see you guys on Thursday.
Oh, what are we going to do?
I don't know. Do you have anything? We can. We've got a couple days to figure it out.
Yeah, but I like to get everyone on the same page before we leave so people can look forward to it and then also send us stuff on the topics.
We could do John McAfee.
McAfee's a good one. Arian, you have
what
anything
about
else?
George Soros?
Oh,
Oh, we could do George Soros.
Yeah, we could do Soros.
I don't know that you want to get into that.
Who's that?
Oh, Mad Dog. Just you wait.
Why don't we do Klaus Schwab?
Who are these people?
Because then
Let's
I don't know.
let's sit on it. Let's figure it out by tomorrow.
maybe we'll do some WEF Klaus Schwab because
Billy is speaking in Mandarin Chinese.
well, because the thing is, people like get accused. A lot of criticism of George Soros gets you lumped in a certain category, whereas Klaus Schwab is
Like, oh, fuck about the category we lumped in. We're here to discuss things on this goddamn podcast, bro. Stop being soft.
I know, but I think Klaus Schwab's a better target.
We're gonna vote on it.
In this,
I would be okay with Soros, because I mean you have to with Soros. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about him too.
I just don't want to touch it.
Wait, who is he?
Why? I mean, I'm interested now.
Billy's afraid of being called an anti-Semite.
I mean, it's just I think it's the wrong time. Maybe in like 6 months. Just like Kanye's running around and like I just don't like I don't.
Bro, you can criticize Jewish people without being an anti-Semite.
Yeah,
G.
I mean, we're not going to
That's
be
not
like
what Kanye
George
is doing.
Soros and his cabal run the world. That's not what the episode's going to be about. It's going to be like the actual truth about like.
Unless that's what you feel.
No, I feel like Klaus Schwab and his WEF.
You just want to do Klaus Schwab.
I think he's a better target.
So when you keep being like, "Yo, let's figure out what we're going to do," you're just trying to steer us into Klaus Schwab.
No,
Yeah, why not just say that? Why not just say that?
No, you said George Soros first, and that whole like realm of people, like
What realm of people? Jewish people?
No, WEF, Bill Gates, like super rich people who have undue influence and like speak at Davos, or like the D20 summit.
We'll figure this out by tomorrow.
We will.
Back.
We'll update it on the Twitter feed.
Why don't we do them all? WEF. Like we'll talk about these guys, and please send any resources that you listeners may have on your theories, whatnot.
Did Billy just decide unilaterally that we were doing Klaus Schwab right there? Is that what that was?
Sounded
No,
like
I
it.
did. Okay, we'll do George Soros.
I just said we're going to tweet it out tomorrow.
We'll figure it out.
We'll tweet it out tomorrow,
Okay,
and then you can send Billy all of his homework that he's going to have to do.
perfect.
Love you guys.